The following video today is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to create a beautiful website. Stay tuned after the video to find out more about how Squarespace could fit the needs of anyone in need of a website. In the early 2010s, there was one online media company that seemed to be on track to take over the internet, and this was of course Cracked. Originally a magazine in the 1950s, half a century later they were trailblazers in the online landscape. They made popular a business model that's still being replicated to this very day. For years, the Cracked YouTube page was a pretty popular place, hosting many shows. That was until the end of 2017, when uploads one day just stopped, with all the series being discontinued all at once. Fast forward to today, and you can see that the only thing posted on the account now are these really weird, out-of-place cartoons. So what on earth happened? To better answer this question though, we'll first have to learn a brief history about the brand. Not that magazine that started in 1958, but rather the company's online revival in 2005. The brand name Cracked has been passed around a lot over the decades, with no one really knowing what to do with it since it's only remembered as an old magazine. But with the help of Jack O'Brien, a former ABC News producer, they were able to turn Cracked.com into a popular website, which was then sold to Demand Media in 2007, and this is where things started to get interesting. You see, they figured out that to maximize viewership, they'd have to make short-form articles with very eye-catching titles to maximize views. On top of this, they started to make their very own video content that would be shown on the site as well as the YouTube channel. I recall them being one of the first sites to really start spamming out clickbaity list articles. Things like 5 movie and TV fan theories that make way too much sense. These were easy to slap together and brought in millions of views. The main focus of this video today, however, will be about the YouTube channel, which started out with content that was very rough around the edges. It was basically just a guy in front of a very low-end camera reading headlines and making jokes, kind of like a low-end cheesy Weekend Update. In these first few years, they didn't get many views and it seemed like they weren't taking it very seriously. But in 2010, Cracked really started to get serious about getting views on YouTube. This is when they started up the popular After Hours show, where 4 friends would sit around a table and discuss random pop culture related subjects. It was a huge hit, with each episode receiving 1 million views apiece. On top of this, they were making a variety of different skits and animations that were of a very high quality, considering they were still in the very early days of YouTube. Because of this, they were one of the more popular channels on the site, although never an A-list channel. Their other big show was Honest Commercials that started up in 2012. In these, you'd have an old guy in a suit who would make fun of whatever product they were discussing in that episode. It was an entertaining concept and made for eye-catching titles, so they were the channel's other consistent hit. Because of some very successful video content, as well as the bustling Cracked.com, they were eventually sold yet again in 2016. This time to the EW Scripps Company, who had the intention of growing the video segment to new heights. This is when things start to really go bad. Shortly after the buyout, Jack O'Brien left the company, and although they were sinking a lot of money into the new video programming, none of it seemed to be bringing in the consistent viewership that After Hours and Honest Commercials had found years prior. Only a year and a half after the buyout, the entire video wing of the company was laid off, with the EW Scripps Company writing off $36 million as a loss. This means they had lost around 90% of their investment. So where exactly did they go wrong? Well, first of all, if we look at Google Trends, we can see that Cracked peaked in 2013, 3 years prior to the buyout. This means they had paid millions for a company that was already going in the wrong direction. And on top of this, they were facing major competition from companies like BuzzFeed. They just couldn't make it work. I think one of the biggest problems specifically with the YouTube channel was that the views were so inconsistent. If you go through the channel's history, you'll notice that there are videos with 2 million views right next to uploads with 20,000. They seem to have trouble abandoning content that no one cared about and instead use those resources to double down on the content that actually did work. The third reason I think they failed was that they overestimated how much money is in YouTube. I know I repeat this in my videos often, but I really don't know how most of these YouTube channels run by big companies turn a profit. Ad revenue has never been that great on this platform compared to other mediums, and when you have to pay for a team of video producers and studio space in expensive cities for them to work in, the math just doesn't really add up most of the time. I kinda have a feeling that most of these places start up video divisions with money from investors who aren't savvy enough to understand that there's not really that much potential for major profits. Sure, if you're a 1 or 2 man operation working out of your house, you can make some good money on this website. But on YouTube, it's almost impossible for a channel to scale up to the size of a traditional TV operation and still turn a profit. Even though I understand why they cut their losses on most of the content, I really can't get over how they just gave up on honest commercials and after hours though. These 2 shows were getting an average of 1 million views apiece. So many people would die for numbers that consistently high, but it appears that they were at a point where they just didn't want to sink another penny into the content. To wrap this video up today, let's take a look at what the channel is currently uploading, which are just a few episodes of the animated show people watching. I'm guessing they already had a deal to make this 2nd season before the layoffs, and they're finally finished since animation takes a long time to produce. Once this batch of content is up, however, I doubt we'll see anything else on the account. The one thing I take away from this story, however, is that hypothetically, someone can probably go and hire that old guy from the Honest Commercial videos, start the series back up making their own knockoff versions of them, and then potentially make some good money. But that's just an idea. Hey everybody, before I end this video today, I just want to thank my sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace gives people a powerful and beautiful online platform from which to create your website. No matter if you're a musician, designer, artist, or restaurant owner, Squarespace provides you the tools to get to the next level. You're able to create a beautiful website or online store with the award-winning templates they have. You could create this website on Squarespace with their all-in-one platform. There's nothing to install, patch, or upgrade ever, and if there is a question that you have, you'll receive award-winning 24/7 customer support. If you don't have one already, Squarespace offers a unique domain name finding experience that's fully transparent and simple to set up. To bring your online presence to the next level, use squarespace.com/GamerFromMars to get a free trial and 10% off your first purchase. The link is also in the description if you want to find it there so you can immediately set up your very own website.